For the first time since 2013, there's playoff football in Dragon territory. After a 7-2 regular season, Pekin rolls into the 7A postseason, having won 3 straight games, led by the vaunted running back duo of Kanye Tyler and Tanner Sprecher. On the other side of the sideline stands a challenge unlike any that Pekin has faced this year. The 6-3 Libertyville Wildcats travel from the northern suburbs on the backs of a gargantuan offensive line and senior quarterback Connor Dickson. And with that, we welcome you to Pekin for a little IHSA football on your Friday night. Thanks for joining us. Alongside Gavin Russell, it's Larry Larson in with you. And Gavin, it's raining, it's wet and muddy, but the spirits aren't dampened.
Absolutely. I mean, there's been people here since even before I arrived, no freshman game, things like that. So people eager to claim their seats, get a good spot for the game tonight. It should be a good one.
Absolutely. You can tell this is the talk of the town throughout Pekin. If you're the Dragons in front of a big home crowd, how do you calm the nerves?
Well, this is a tough game because, you have a lot of excitement coming in, but you're facing a really good team too. So I think they need to just go out with a straight mind. They need to just get out there, play their game, and if they do that, I think they have a good shot to win tonight.
Looking at the Libertyville Wildcats, they're led by 2 very experienced runners. First in their quarterback, Connor Dickson, who we mentioned, and also in Tommy Latka.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they've had some injury things with Latka this year, so he hasn't been at full strength all year, but now looks like he should be good coming into this game. And again, Dixon, a very diverse quarterback, can do a lot with the ball, so it'll be interesting to see what they do.
It's the Pekin Dragons out of the Middle Illini Conference and the Liberty Wildcats out of the Northern Suburban Conference. We're moments away from the IHSA postseason. This is what you dream of. Coming up next on Clutch Sports Media. And we welcome you live to Pekin as the Pekin Dragons are about to take the field. Gavin, you can really feel the excitement building as you see the Dragons getting set to take Pekin Memorial Stadium surface.
It's a sea of umbrellas, but you can hear the excitement underneath them. The Fire Pit Nation over there, the student section is all fired up, all dressed up in their costumes tonight, it looks like. They're excited for a playoff game, and so is the rest of this Pekin crowd, as well as the Libertyville crowd on the other side.
The Libertyville crowd has traveled pretty well considering the trip they had to make, Gavin. 195 miles, 3 hours and 17 minutes. But I talked to Libertyville head coach Mike Jones earlier this week, and he said that's part of the fun, taking long bus rides rather than just 45-minute trips, and also it's better than being at home.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a big experience for these guys, especially these guys who will be coming back next year. Give them a good look at really what state playoff football looks like, especially coming off the COVID year. Pekin, definitely a place that they probably haven't traveled before, at least in a long time. So it's, again, a good experience for them. It's a little exhausting on that long bus ride, but, again, it's a good game.
Gavin, one of the biggest stories tonight is the weather. We mentioned it at the top of the show, but you see that kickoff temperature 52. But the thing that jumps out to me, look at how wet the field is. That's going to be a factor tonight.
When it's visibly wet, you know it's going to be really, really soggy. I believe when you talk to the Libertyville head coach, they really haven't played on natural grass surfaces, so this could be a bit of a test. That's where home field advantage can come into play. But, again, Pekin still has to contend with those elements also.
Gavin, moments away from kickoff now. Let's get to the keys to the game. First for Libertyville, kind of on that note, they got to find their footing on this natural surface fast.
Yeah, that's a really tough thing for them. I mean, it's going to be muddy, but they got to win in the trenches. They got a big offensive line and also contain the monsters, the big two-headed monster for Pekin, Tanner Sprecher and Kanye Tyler. That's just really going to be tough to do, but we'll see if Libertyville can pull it off.
As for Pekin, limit the penalties, especially in the trenches.
Absolutely. I mean, you don't want to put yourself going backwards unnecessarily. And, you know, they got to have a balanced offense. We know they're a very run-heavy team, but if they can kind of spread out Libertyville's defense, they're going to be able to move the ball with more effectiveness and keep the crowd going. I mean, it's a rainy night, but you want to keep everybody fired up and in the game. Should go that way, but we'll see how this one plays out.
Pekin getting set to boot it away to open this one up. As you can see the rain coming down. We're battling through the elements as well, but we appreciate you joining us for 7A first round action here in Central Illinois. Two receivers back deep for the Wildcats. It's Andrew Scott as well as Tommy Latka. The ball has fallen off the tee. Dragons making some adjustments. Gavin, it's going to be Miley Hansen to do the kicking, it appears. Rather, it's Mason Nauman to boot it away. Nauman swings the right leg, pop-up kick, and we are underway in the IHSA postseason, nearly muffed by Scott, picked up by Latka, and he'll be wrapped up right around the 25. A little excitement to start.
Absolutely, but you got to look at the elements. You got to think if that's how tonight's going to go, it's going to be very slippery, and that might kind of slow down some of these explosive offensive pieces. But then again, they could make some people miss. It really could go either way. Just got to contain these elements. Really, really soggy field out there.
And you figure that's probably going to make it a little bit more of a run-heavy game with the wet field. But I asked Doug Nutter, Pekin head coach, earlier this week, is that going to affect the game plan at all? He said absolutely not. We'll see if it affects Libertyville's. They'll start from their own 27. Connor Dickson, the senior quarterback, out of the gun. Fakes to Latka, throws over the middle. That was a very awkward throw on the first play from scrimmage.
Looked like kind of a last-minute decision. Maybe the quarterback Dixon was looking to take it himself, it appeared. Kind of made a late throw to avoid the sack. Overall, not a great start, but again, it's going to be a really tough, well-fought game. There's a lot of time left that we're just getting started here.
Libertyville, the number 18 seed in the 7A bracket. Pekin, the number 15 seed. Still 2nd and 10. Give to Latka, and he's going nowhere.
Looked like great scheme there by the Dragons kind of coming in. And again, as you said, we might see some more run heavy, even if they say the game plan's not going to change. They might try to come out and set the tone with the run game, see if anything gets going there. The Dragons obviously expecting it there, and not a lot of footing there for Latka to get out in open space.
As you may have heard on the PA, Tanner Sprecher was the first one there. Definitely so hard to cut as you see that mud building up. 3rd and 15. Dixon has completed 55% of his passes this year, and this is definitely a passing situation. Bobbled snap right to Latka. He's got to make something happen, and he can't. A flag flies in. We'll see what it is.
I mean, just from my observation here, he just is not able to get any footing whatsoever. I mean, he's slipping and sliding, mud kicking around. Got to be really, really tough out there, and the Dragons look to be celebrating on this penalty.
It is a holding call against the Wildcats. So the Dragons will get a chance very, very early as their defense doesn't give up any ground and in fact picks up some ground.
Way to set the tone if you're the Pekin defense. You know, they're a real asset to this team. They come up, they make big plays, and they can push a team backwards, and that's exactly what they did. Should have favorable field position to start out.
Connor Dickson will punt. Kanye Tyler and Levi Burke back deep to return. Low liner kick. Looks like the Dragons are just going to let it bounce and stop beyond the 50-yard line. And now, Gavin, when we talk the Pekin Dragons offense, you talk the two-headed monster between Tanner Sprecher and Kanye Tyler. Look at those yardage numbers. If Sprecher has a little over 40 yards tonight, the Dragons have 2 1,000-yard rushers this year.
Well, it's really impressive just what Kanye Tyler has done by himself, but have 2 players with nearly 1,000 yards rushing in the regular season. That is real incredible, and they should be a force here tonight.
Quarterback Scott Jordan, as a junior, gives up the middle to Sprecher, hurdles a man past the line of scrimmage for a big gain on first down.
Some other games recently that we've done here on Clutch Sports, I've really talked about the 5, 6, 7-yard runs. They really start to add up, and tonight that's going to be a big factor. Those runs really could just be the force that moves the ball forward. We may not see as many big plays, so nice solid run to start the game.
2nd and 5 for Jordan and company. Sprecher still in the backfield. He gets it again, finds a hole, keeps those legs moving forward. And Gavin, although that wasn't exactly an explosive play, again, you pick up that productive yardage, it'll be 3rd and short.
You want to keep moving forward. Libertyville obviously was going backwards. They didn't start out quite right. Again, a lot of time left. Pekin, though, looking to just do their thing, push it forward, maybe calm the nerves a little bit, see the ball moving forward, and they've got a favorable 3rd down here.
3rd and 1. It's still Sprecher. He gets a carry, hurdles another man, past the 40, bowls through another one, tackled from behind after a big-time run.
We will see those big-time runs still. I mean, just because the elements aren't favorable, we will still see those big-time players come up with big-time plays. And look, just kind of like poor tackling there from Libertyville. He was able to pick up a few extra yards after the contact.
Looked like Dylan Holmes was the first to get there, one of Libertyville's safeties. Here's the give to Kanye Tyler, his first of the night, wrapped up a little bit past the line of scrimmage. Tyler last week against Limestone had 16 attempts, 130 yards, and a touchdown. He told me earlier this week, Gavin, that they were trying to get the biggest crowd they've ever had here at Pekin Memorial Stadium. I don't think that's the case tonight. The weather didn't cooperate, but no less, the excitement is palpable. 2nd and 7 here. Jordan goes to the hard count. Perhaps we see our first pass play. Tyler with another carry, plunges into the offensive line, falls forward for another gain.
Second set with the first downs here, that they've gotten a favorable 3rd down situation. Again, that may be the case that they'll need to just continue to do that. Get themselves favorable 3rd down. You're chewing a little clock. Keep moving the ball forward and hopefully find yourself in the end zone.
Dragons running the same formation they have all night. The pitch to Tyler, more than enough for the first down. He scampers to the sideline, stays out of the wet grass, and the Dragons move the chains again. Not
exactly a pass play. You know, you're pitching out to your running back, but you have a balanced offense. If you go up the middle all night, you'll become a little bit predictable. Trying to mix it up a little bit. Nice job there, and it'll help move the sticks, get yourself even closer to the touchdown.
1st down and goal to go. Under 8 minutes to go in the opening quarter. IHSA opening round of the playoffs here in Class 7A. Some adjustments to the ball spot there by the officials. Kanye Tyler leads this Pekin team in touchdowns with 16. Sprecher has 8. It'll be interesting to see who the Dragons go to. Flags fly. This one might be delay of game. And it's false start on the Dragons.
Penalties, we talked about in the opener, something that they're going to want to limit. Definitely got to get everybody on the same page. Maybe a little excitement, as we've talked about. So you just got to kind of settle down, do your thing, and you don't want to take all those unnecessary penalties.
Got a little bit of the jitters. We don't know who that flag was on, but Pekin's offensive line, Gavin, has been so stout all year long. That's the first thing that head coach Doug Nutter mentions to me. Our offensive line has been our key factor. Tyler gets through the offensive line, charging down to the 5.
4 seniors on that offensive line. You've got a lot of experience like that. Obviously, Pekin coaches out their players very well. They're able to kind of really create those gaps, and then Tyler and Sprecher and a lot of those other weapons are able to take advantage of that.
2nd down and goal from inside the 5-yard line. Tyler heads to the sideline. Sprecher is back in. There's the give to Sprecher. Has some room. Spins through contact. Is the lunge enough? It is not.
Really tough there. Tanner Sprecher just fought for every inch of that carry. Again, he's got a lot of power. You know, Tyler, a very speedy back, very elusive. Sprecher is as well, but he really carries that power, really carries that strength, and that's why he's big here in these goal line situations. See if he can punch it in on 3rd down.
The Pekin crowd comes to life. Sprecher in for 6.
Great run there by Sprecher. Just created just enough room. I mean, they were right there. I mean, it had to be maybe a yard, maybe a few inches. But, again, nice job there by Tanner Sprecher, pushing his way forward. I think he was really the highlight of this drive. He had that big run early in the drive, and, of course, Kanye Tyler coming on, making a couple of nice plays as well.
Miley Hansen, the girl kicker, with a line drive through the uprights and good. Hansen, the star soccer player for the Dragons, made the switch over to the football field for the fall, and she has done a nice job all year long. Has the Pekin Dragons up 7, and we'll take this break to remind you that tonight's presentation of Clutch Sports Media is brought to you by Zach Butler State Farm in Pekin. For all your insurance needs, call 309-347-3115 or visit sfbutler.com. It's your good neighbor in Pekin, Zach Butler, and we thank Zach for all his support all season long of Clutch Sports Media and high school sports all around Central Illinois. Gavin, just how big is that first score for the Dragons?
You're really setting the tone out there, and I think Libertyville was trying to do that. They just really couldn't piece anything together on those first 3 plays of the game. They had a penalty. They were moving backwards, so a good chance for them to reset and come out here. But focusing on Pekin, they kept the ball moving forward. Only 1 penalty. They really kept that in check, and again, got in for the score.
Mason Nauman preparing to boot it away. And Gavin looking down the way at the Fire Pit Nation. Despite the rain, their student section chanting that 7 Nation Army. Whistles blow. This kickoff will come back. Laundry on the field. And we'll wait to see what the call is. It's going to move Pekin back. False start, it looks like. So we will redo the kickoff. Pekin with 2 penalties early, kind of surprising.
Yeah, you got to stay disciplined, even on those special team plays. I mean, moving back a little bit farther, they're not going to boot it away all the way to the end zone. I'm fairly sure that looked like maybe just a little squib kick coming up here, but again, those penalties can really set you back.
Andrew Scott and Tommy Latka back to return. Same returners as the first one. Mason Nauman sends a high end over end kick, fielded by Scott. Patient run here, spin move gets him to the 40.
Good field position, very similar to where they started on their first drive, but again, they got to put it together. They really just didn't have any plays that got them going forward. Again, just tearing off 3, 4, 5 yards at a time can be really helpful, and we saw Pekin do that on their first drive. Maybe see if they switch their approach coming out early.
Dragons pushed Libertyville backwards 7 yards on the Wildcats' first drive. We'll see if they can get something going here. Connor Dickson, who Pekin coach Doug Nutter called the best player on their team far and away on tape, hands off to Latka. He's gotten something going, and it's a pickup of 5 on the opening play.
Exactly what I'm talking about right there. Maybe looked like they got a little fancy, a little disorganized early on. That's just a really solid drive up there. You get about 6 yards. Great second down situation. Even if you don't get it on this next play, you should set yourself up for a good third down.
Tommy Latka, the 5'11 senior running back, was the featured back early in the season, then missed 3 games with an ankle injury. Came back and kind of had a coming back party last week against Stevenson in a big comeback victory for the Wildcats. Dixon plunges forward. It's going to be a little bit short of the sticks, but again, Gavin, on a field like this, you'll take any positive yardage.
Absolutely. I mean, they went back 7 yards to start their first drive, so coming out here, they're obviously getting a little more confidence, and I think once you get the legs warmed up a little bit, you get a little more comfortable with the field conditions, you'll start to see those bigger plays coming off, but the biggest thing for them here, get that first down.
I know, talking to Libertyville head coach Mike Jones, he said, we'll probably not pass the ball any more than 15 to 18 times per game. He's probably looking more towards the 15 side right now. We haven't seen a pass yet. Maybe we'll see it here. Dixon keeps it himself, has space on the outside. Past the chains into Pekin territory.
When you've got a quarterback that can run, that's real mobile, that's just a huge asset to really any team, especially for Libertyville. They've got a great quarterback, Connor Dickson. He's able to do some with his arm, but most importantly, he's able to get out and run, and we saw that right there on the option play. Got out there for a great first down.
Yeah, he leads the team with 8 rushing touchdowns, and he made the switch to quarterback this year, Gavin, from wide receiver, so you'd expect that mobility.
He's an athletic player, and athletic players can do athletic things, so obviously coming out here being a big force on this drive.
Latka charges up the middle. Doesn't get much of a push from his offensive line, swarmed by red jerseys. A number of them there. Looked like Caleb Cope was one of the players that got in there on the tackle. Pickup of a few.
The offensive line is a big thing we'll talk about all night for both teams, but particularly for Libertyville, they've got a lot of big forces up front. But I think you got to give a lot of credit to Pekin. They've come out with a really good scheme. They've really shut down that run real well. Again, see if they can hold them to another short gain here.
High snap. Latka finds some space, but how about a big open field tackle there? One of the better ones that we've seen all night. Looked like perhaps Mason Vickery got there. Xavier Wisely, rather, with the open field tackle to prevent the first down, at least there on second down, 3rd and short.
Yeah, this is a big play here. I would assume if they weren't able to get it, they might try and punt just for where they're at. It would give Pekin favorable field position, but again, you want to keep those sticks moving. You kind of want to get back after Pekin gained the first score.
Pekin crowd making some noise. Dixon is going to keep it himself, has the space, and has another first down.
Looks like Pekin, maybe the scheme there was have a guy come off the edge or kind of shadow on the edge. Really nice job by number 67. I don't have that name. It is David Friedman. Came up and made a really nice block there and opened up a lot of space for Connor Dickson to take that ball. Again, moves the sticks, but we do have an injured player down on the field.
Trying to get an identification on who that injured player is. Gavin, hard to tell from this perspective, especially hard to tell on a muddy field. But both teams will huddle up on their respective sidelines. Under 3 minutes to go in the first quarter. In case you're just joining us, the Dragons have the lead thanks to a Tanner Sprecher touchdown run at the 6:08 mark in the first quarter. And while we've got a moment, Gavin, we mentioned at the top of the show, first home playoff game for the Dragons here at Memorial Stadium since 2013. Their last playoff win came in 2011.
It's been a while for the Dragons, but they play a lot of really good teams. I mean, when you get them these higher classes, you just get so many good teams, especially from the Chicagoland area. It's been no easy road for the Dragons, but they really worked their way up. They've had a lot of great teams, but this one is just extra special this year, and they have the makings of being able to make a run in the playoffs.
1st and 10, deep in Dragons territory, getting deeper, I should say. The give to Latka, trying for some space on the outside, and he's got none, Gavin.
Yeah, we've seen that a few times, just not really able to get much going forward, and then they end up going backward. They're fortunate enough they didn't really lose a lot on that one, but again, you want to keep the ball moving up the field. You don't want to be losing yards, wasting downs. See if maybe they try to go a little more simple on the play call here and just try to pick up some yardage.
Just a loss of 1 on first down. Dixon, another give to Latka. Rather, he keeps it himself. And he's pushed backwards again. This Dragons defense is putting its foot in the ground.
Definitely the highlight so far is we're getting close to the end of the first quarter. The Dragons defense has been huge. I mean, inevitably, Libertyville is going to move the ball at least a little bit, but for what the Dragons defense has done so far, they've been incredibly impressive. Really like the way that the Dragons have come out and playing. We'll see if Libertyville can make a response. That's going to be really key to kind of get back in this game early and set their own tone on offense.
And that's especially so critical to do on the road when you really don't have the crowd behind you. Dixon in an empty backfield. Man in motion is Latka. Dixon looks right. The ball slipped out of his hand again. It looked like that was in the vicinity of Andrew Scott. Scott was in traffic, and it's 4th and long for the Wildcats.
Well, he might be a little bit lucky there that he didn't throw an interception. A lot of red jerseys on that area of the field, and even if he would have caught in that pass, I don't think he was going to get too far. Maybe he would have forced an incompletion. So the Dragons seem to be everywhere. They're kind of torturing Libertyville so far. They're just really shutting everything down they're doing. But again, Libertyville can make a response here, and it looks like they're going to punt. Thought they might go for it at first, but they're going to punt here.
Kanye Tyler back deep for the Dragons. Connor Dickson, the quarterback and punter, so that always adds a little suspicion if you're the return team. This one lands nowhere near Kanye. Bounces out short of the 20-yard line. And before the Dragons take over, we want to take this opportunity to remind you of our great sponsor tonight, Zach Butler State Farm here in Pekin. For all your insurance needs, give him a call at 309-347-3115 or pay him a visit online, sfbutler.com. It's Zach Butler State Farm, your good neighbor here in Pekin. Dragons with a chance to go ahead 2 scores. Just a little over a quarter, or less than a quarter into this game. Scott Jordan out of the gun. Hands off to Sprecher. He doesn't have much room.
We can see for Libertyville, I mean, they haven't really set that tone on offense, but maybe the defense can kind of ignite something. I mean, one thing I know you were talking with the Libertyville coach, they don't really have a lot of guys that play both sides of the ball, so this group out here can come and kind of set the presence for the team, maybe kind of ignite a spark under the offense.
That's a big advantage that Libertyville has that maybe not a lot of Central Illinois teams have. Sprecher to the outside, to the sideline, takes a hit. He's out of bounds. He's going to be near the sticks.
Sprecher on the carry, being driven out of bounds by Austin Gomez.
Tough hit there, but again, really good coverage, and looks like maybe, again, they're starting to warm up their legs a little bit, getting a little more familiar with what Pekin is starting to run, but Pekin's been moving the ball forward pretty consistently. That's going to be key here tonight. Consistency, moving the ball forward, and being able to move the sticks for the first down.
Sprecher has moved the sticks so effectively tonight. Splitting time at the main back spot with Kanye Tyler. 2 juniors in the backfield, Jordan and Sprecher. Just those 3 wide receivers you see on your screen. Jordan with some adjustments. The man in motion is Frainer, and it's a give up the gut to Sprecher. He's upended.
Sprecher on the carry.
That'll make it 4th and about 1 or 2. Gavin, this is a tough spot because you're in your own half of the field. Do you go for it here?
This is a really tough call, and I believe they're going to go for it. I would say it's a good call. I think they have the means to be able to move the sticks here, even on a big play. It's a good opportunity to get the crowd fired up here.
Perhaps just trying to get a hard count. You see that quarter clock winding down, and Doug Nutter burns his first timeout of the ball game. And Gavin, I'm not really surprised to see that strategy there. Come out, line up, and have Jordan give the hard count. Nobody budges. You got a few more seconds left in the quarter. I think they'll probably punt out of the timeout.
Yeah, they probably will. I mean, it's a good idea to at least try it out, see if it works. You never really know. Catch somebody off guard. But again, play the safer option. The Pekin defense has been really good so far. Definitely the highlight of the first quarter, and the hope is to continue that. If you're Pekin, for Libertyville, you want to kind of find a way to exploit that defense, kind of find a hole and maybe break off a big play that'll kind of ignite your offense. Again, talked about that. The defense making a big stop here, and that, again, maybe could give a spark to a team that really hasn't come out with a whole lot so far.
Libertyville's defense doing a good job forcing a 4-and-out. The snap is back, and the punt is away off the leg of Brody Keene. Popped up. It's a good one, Gavin, especially on this muddy turf. Pekin will down it after it rolls a little bit in favor of the Wildcats. Looked like Pekin was looking for some penalties, and there is a flag down. So we'll see what the call is. One thing I've picked up on, it has been scrappy early.
Yeah, I mean, both these teams are coming out and they want to play hard. I mean, they want to play physical. They want to get out and do their thing. Again, very excited for this playoff game. But again, you can't take those penalties. It looks like Libertyville taking an unsportsmanlike conduct call. And we've talked about Pekin with the penalties. I guess we need to talk about both sides. That's really going to back you up, and it's going to hurt their offense here as they'll have unfavorable field position. The defense for Pekin really has a chance to make a huge stand as we'll get into the second quarter momentarily.
Well, Gavin, of course, in these big games, you talk about the nerves, you talk about the energy, and you just mentioned it. Both teams want to come out and play hard. They're going to give it their all, and for some, maybe that can go a little too far?
Well, with coming off the year with no state playoffs, I mean, there may not be that experience here to kind of know that poise. Again, they'll start to learn that a little bit here, but I think start to settle on as the game goes along. And, again, just try to limit those unnecessary things. Sometimes you just fall in the wrong place at the wrong time, but you can limit things like unsportsmanlike conduct and false start. Just got to keep your head in the right place and play a solid game.
Just a third of a second left here in this opening quarter of action. Dixon out of the gun. He'll give up the gut to Latka as the siren sounds on the first quarter. Latka picks up a few, and that is indeed the final play of the opening quarter of action. After one, Tanner Sprecher has the Pekin Dragons in front in their first home playoff game since 2013 with a 1-yard run back at the 6:08 mark of the first quarter. That was the opening drive for the Dragons, Gavin, since it's been a defensive battle.
Absolutely. I mean, we knew the conditions were going to be tough. If you're joining us or joined us recently, I mean, you can just take a look at the field and you notice how muddy it is. Really going to be tough for both of these offenses to come out here and get much going. So far, Pekin's taken that early on, but the defense have stood strong.
As we'll take a look at the playoff history for the Libertyville Wildcats, we did the same for the Dragons a few moments ago. This is a program with a lot of success, and recently they finished as runner-up in the state in 2015, lost in the title game. 6 wins entering this postseason, but you see those state title game appearances in 2003, 2004. In that 2-season stretch, the only games they lost were the state title game. Head coach Mike Jones was on the staff for both of those, was not the head coach, but was the head coach in 2015. So this is a program that has great tradition and knows how to win.
Yeah, both of these teams, great tradition. They've got great history. I mean, in the Mike Jones era, again, you talk about that 2015 season, finishing as the runner-up. You know, they really have that culture, and I think that's why you see them here in the state playoffs once again. 6-3 team. I mean, they have a tough schedule in the 7A realm up in the Chicagoland, but again, they're a very well-coached team, a lot of history, and a lot of culture.
Wildcats finished 3rd in the North Suburban Conference this year. Give up the gut to Latka, and he's going nowhere. Good play by the Dragons' defense and that front defensive line. We talked about Pekin's offensive line earlier, but the defensive line has also been raved about by Coach Nutter.
Yeah, I mean, the defensive line has been very good. I mean, they've got some big names up there. Caleb Cope is a big force up there, but then you got to think about, you know, Tanner Sprecher up in the linebacker core, coming up, making some big plays. We've even seen some guys from the secondary coming down, helping on those stops as well, and they've got them in a 3rd and 10 situation. That's really not easy for Libertyville, who's not really been able to move the ball too much to start the game.
Could be a passing situation for the senior quarterback, Connor Dickson. Takes care of a high snap, swings it out to Latka, wrapped up. A great play by a few Dragons. And that'll make it 4th and long. Chase Rhodes was the guy that got there first, the senior defensive lineman. And again, it's another 4 and out by the Dragons defense.
Much like their offensive line, a lot of senior presence, and Chase Rhodes is one of 3 starting seniors on that defensive line, along with Cope and Dawson Reese as well. So a lot of experience here. Again, maybe not so much that state playoff experience missing last season, but once again, a lot of experience. It's coming in handy, and they look real confident coming out on both sides of the ball, making some big plays early on.
Levi Burke and Kanye Tyler are the returners. Dixon boots it, and it's a short one. Sails right into the Dragons bench. It's going to be a short field for Pekin as they once again have another opportunity to go up 2 scores.
And that's, again, another penalty of not being able to move the ball is, you know, the punting tonight is probably not going to be great with the field conditions, so you're really putting yourself in a spot where you're going to hand the ball over to Pekin now on their side of the field. They're going to come out here, have a short field to work with, and again, the defense for Libertyville is going to need to make a big stop to kind of keep them close in this game. Don't want to let Pekin get away with this one early.
It has been a defensive battle. It's the opening round of the 7A IHSA playoffs. Pekin the 15 seed in the 7A bracket. Libertyville at number 18 after a 6-3 regular season. Scott Jordan, the junior, gives up the gut to Tyler. Looks like he ran right into somebody at the line. Gets knocked over It'll be second and about 10.
Yeah, no reason. We've talked about the balanced offense from Pekin. You know, maybe see if they open up with a few throws or some trick plays or something like that. But the running games work pretty well. But again, Libertyville has a chance to kind of reverse that trend, make some stops here. That might be a good first play to kind of shut them down.
We've yet to see a pass from Pekin yet. They go to the ground again. Tyler lost the football momentarily, but he got it right back. It's a rare sight from Tyler, who's been so good at hanging on to the football and then some this year. 3rd and short coming up.
It's amazing Kanye Tyler's only a junior. The things that he's done, I believe he had a little exposure to that 2019 playoff team for Pekin, but again, this is really his first dose of what's happening here, and he's just really played amazing all year. They've really relied on him a lot, as well as Tanner Sprecher too.
Tyler, as a freshman, played in that playoff game for Pekin back in 2019. Dragons went on the road and lost at Harvey Thornton. Here's Tyler again. Tyler with space. Tyler to the house. The junior continues his big season into the postseason, his 17th rushing touchdown of the campaign.
Put another on the board there for Kanye Tyler. He's been huge all season. That's just a perfect example of what he can do when he gets the football, creates his own space, gets out in that open field, takes off right into the end zone.
Miley Hansen on for the extra point. She's 1 for 1 tonight. Scott Jordan on the hold, and the kick falls through the uprights. Dragons up by 2 touchdowns and 2 extra points. It's all clicking for the Dragons out of the gate.
Well, the home field advantage has certainly proved to be an asset. I mean, I wonder if there's something with the field conditions maybe that's kind of getting to the head of the Libertyville sideline. Again, they don't have that home field, so really tough to come here on the road, but they're a very good team. Again, very well coached. They're a team that definitely has the ability to make some adjustments, and they played in some close games, including last week, so they really have the ability to kind of get back into this one. But if you're Pekin, everything's rolling right now. You just don't want to lose focus. You want to keep the crowd going. You want to keep all those juices pumping, and you want to be able to come out and get another big stop here against the Libertyville offense.
Kanye Tyler goes 32 yards to the house. And Gavin, you've been along with the ride for us on Clutch Sports Media all year long. How many times have we seen runs like that out of Tyler?
Too many to count, really. I mean, he's just incredibly explosive. I mean, he can create his own space. He can use the space created by his offensive line. I think on that last play there by Tyler, did a little bit of everything. Got a nice opening there from his offensive line, but took off, made that own space for him, and got in for the long touchdown run.
Mason Nauman getting ready to boot it away. Libertyville needs a response. Still early, but Pekin will receive the second half kickoff. Short kick, muffed by the Wildcats, and they fall on it.
Really close there. I mean, Libertyville is one bad play away from maybe really getting out of this game, but very close still. I mean, there's 9 minutes left in the second quarter. They're down a couple of scores, but I think they're just one big play away from really getting that confidence boost. I think confidence is a big thing, and me and Cody Roskins have talked about big momentum, and right now Pekin keeping that momentum, but again, it can be very easily changed with just one play, so we'll see if Libertyville can come out with something special.
We'll see if they can get that play here. Give up the gut to Latka. Pick up of a few on first down.
Number 40.
Looks like they're going to give them about 1. Xavier Wisely was the first Dragon there.
Once again, I think it's more we just got to give credit to the Pekin defense. They've come out with a really strong scheme. Definitely Doug Nutter's been focusing on being able to shut down that Libertyville offense, and so far they've done a really nice job, but they've got some tricks up their sleeve, I'm sure, for Libertyville, and see if maybe they can come out with something different.
Wildcats operating from their own 34, and Latka is swallowed up by the front 4 of Pekin. Braden Beckham was one of the first there. 3rd down and long. Gavin, if you're head coach Mike Jones, when do you start to maybe open up the playbook a little bit and start looking to maybe some passes?
Well, it's definitely been a little bit frustrating, and we've seen, I think, one pass from Libertyville. They had something going on their second drive of the game, a pitch and run, a couple of option plays. I think they're starting to go with it, just need to get a little more deep into that playbook with a pass there.
It's complete to the sideline. Andrew Scott, who has 9 catches for 149 yards entering this contest, hauls it in, but it's not enough to move the chains. But, Gavin, I mean, you got to consider going for it here, right?
Absolutely. I mean, you're probably not going to punt it too far down. Again, with the quarterback coming on the field, it's not at the moment in the huddle, not able to see for sure, but looks like they might line up and try to go for this. Probably a good idea, just trying to keep that momentum going in your favor. Definitely want to pick up a first down.
Dixon in the backfield. He's going to keep it himself. Looks like a run-pass option. He goes to the pass option, and it's incomplete.
Yeah, tough play there. Good coverage by the defense. The secondary coming up, helping out, but the linebackers moving over. Looked like just ran out of space there and kind of had to make a last-second decision. Just didn't work out. Certainly, though, a hard pass to complete with a lot of bodies over there on the far sideline, I should say. Pekin really standing strong again. Their defense has been the story of this game.
Dragons entering the postseason 7-2, hosting a home playoff game for the first time since 2013. And if they can score on this drive, they would put themselves well into the catbird seat, try and win their first playoff game since 2011. Jordan, there's Sprecher. Sprecher bowling over men just short of the sticks.
Talked about on our last few broadcasts I've been part of, and it's been open field tackling, being able to get up there and make those stops. When you make that first contact, you don't want to allow running backs, you don't want to allow the receivers to be able to gain those extra yards, because those, again, really start to add up. We've seen some not so good tackling from Libertyville to start out this game. Maybe they need to just settle in and just start making those stops, not allowing that extra yards after the contact.
Sprecher out there again. He gets another carry. Patient run here. That'll be enough for a first.
It seems like the Pekin offensive line is certainly winning in the trenches so far to start this game. Even on those runs that aren't so big, they're moving the ball forward. They're getting positive plays, getting that confidence boost, and again, holding that momentum.
Of umbrellas. The fans, they're still out despite the weather. Sprecher shakes a man in the backfield, still going.
That's another play right there that Libertyville had an opportunity to hold them short there, hold them to a very minimal game, or maybe even a tackle for loss. Tanner Sprecher ends up getting a nice run there and puts them real close to that first down.
Second down and 3.
Good news for the Wildcats. Sprecher to the sideline. Perhaps bad news for the Wildcats. There's Kanye Tyler back in the backfield.
The two-headed monster is real. I mean, it's really hard to contain them both. But you're going to have to figure out at some point if you want to hold them to no scores.
Tyler loses the football. Liberty falls on it. Libertyville gets the turnover, and perhaps that's the play that they can use to turn the tide.
Well, if that is the play, that's certainly going to be a big one. I mean, not so much there what Libertyville did, rather just kind of a mistake there with Pekin. But we were bound to see it. They played such a really disciplined, they played a really well played game so far to come out early on. Libertyville maybe needed that to kind of turn around. Once again, the offense has to take that spark and get something going themselves. They need to go down, move the ball, and, you know, for them, hope they get a score.
First and 10 for the Wildcats.
First and 10 for the Wildcats from their own 26. Dixon takes a shot downfield, and he overthrew his man. He had Scott wide open. You saw him turn on the Jets just a little bit too much.
Really tough pass there because he was right there. If he would have had that ball, probably would have taken it into the house. We've seen this, though, the last few plays with the last drive, now the first play of this drive. They look to be opening the playbook up a little bit more, the run-pass option. We've seen a couple of passes now, so maybe trying to get away from that traditional kind of run-up-the-middle game. Try to switch it up a little bit, maybe hope something works here, is able to move the ball a little farther down the field.
Dixon again in the empty set backfield. Second and 10. He's going to keep it himself. He's got space, and it closes up fast.
to me on some of these plays as well, it looks like with Dixon and Latka, they look a little unsure of where they want to go. You know, they looks like they have some options. Maybe if they want to cut to the outside. With that, maybe he had to look to pass on the option. They just look unsure of what they want to do. Again, I don't know if they're not quite fully locked in or if really Pekin is just shutting them down, not giving them a whole lot of options to work with. But maybe need to just mentally lock in a little more to kind of execute on some of those plays.
Well, it looks like the offensive line, I mean, on a lot of these plays are giving the Wildcats enough space to run, but Pekin has been so gap sound, it's probably credit to them. Dixon looking for space to the outside, chucks it, finds a man, complete. Down the sideline, Tommy Latka all the way home. Connor Dickson turns something out of nothing, and the Wildcats are on the board.
That's a big swing play right there for Libertyville. We talked about it, the momentum. One play can get you right back into this game, totally change the feel of this game. That right there coming off, getting the turnover, now you get a huge pass play there. Looks like they're starting to expand a little more, maybe start to get the Pekin defense thinking that they're going to have to expand their playbook a little more as well and change up the scheme. But once again, a big momentum shift there, and we'll see if that can prove to come in handy for the defense as well. See if the defense can come up with another stop to help Libertyville stay right in this game.
Luke Compare on for the extra point. The hold is down, and he boots it through the uprights. He remains perfect on the season for extra points. And just like that, Libertyville is within a score thanks to a 70-yard touchdown pass from Connor Dickson to Tommy Latka. One of the wildest plays you'll ever see, especially in the mud.
Well, it's hard to see. I mean, he's throwing the pass to the guy that's almost completely covered in mud. And, you know, you see the red jersey, then you see another dark jersey there. Got me thinking at first that was a Pekin player. Then you realize it's Tommy Latka covered in mud as he takes it for the long touchdown pass. Really good play, though. And, again, it was already only a two-score game. The Libertyville really just, again, had that one play to be able to just get right back in this. And I think that's what we've seen on these last couple of sequences. Again, forcing that turnover. Now they come off with a big chunk play for the touchdown. You really like where you are right now. But, again, you got to keep that consistency. We'll talk about that a lot. Consistency is key, and that goes for Pekin as well. They can't really let them kind of teeth into this game too much.
Absolutely. Pekin, in case you're just joining us, got out to a hot start. Tanner Sprecher with a touchdown run back in the first quarter. Then Kanye Tyler with a 32-yard dash to the house in the second quarter. But Kanye Tyler muffed a pitch play on the left sideline. Libertyville recovered, and they turned it into a score. Points off turnovers, so important, so critical, especially in postseason games. Now the Wildcats defense will try and take a stand as the wind whips through Pekin Memorial Stadium. You see on the far sideline, we're looking at it at least. You can't see it on your screen. There's an orange tent set up for the Wildcats, and it's about to come apart, it looks like. I mean, the wind is really brutal. There you get a great look at the football on the tee. You see just how much mud is surrounding it. Line drive kick skips all the way back, and it's going to roll all the way into the end zone for the touchback.
For the special teams, they're not a bad idea. I mean, you want to kind of get that line drive kick, maybe thought the mud and, you know, kind of the wet field would slow it down a little bit. Maybe try to force them back there, but it goes into the end zone. But either way, we've seen some kicks that have been real short, gives Pekin good field position. Right now, it looks like Libertyville has a little more field to work with in terms of trying to come up with a stop.
Dragons break the huddle from the sideline. They will try to respond. Scott Jordan, Tanner Sprecher in the backfield. Two wide receivers out to the left. Sprecher gets the carry, and he is met immediately by a swarm of white jerseys.
We know both teams have guys that play on both sides of the ball just a little bit. Both these teams real big, real deep. So, but for Libertyville, you know, again, they've got a lot of guys, a lot of fresh legs coming out there. And again, a lot of success on the offense can also translate into that defense and vice versa as well. So maybe we're seeing a little bit of that coming out here on Pekin's drive late here in the second quarter.
Schmidt was the first one there for the Cats. 2nd and 10. Sprecher again. He is wrapped up on the outside. Connor Wolf, the cornerback, gets there. Limits Sprecher to about 2.
Yeah, we've seen on these last couple plays better tackling there from the front for Libertyville. We've seen a few times where Tanner Sprecher's had a hand on him, maybe a body comes up and hits him a little bit, but he's able to kind of force his way through. They gave him no chance there, just sat him down right where he was, allow no further gain.
3 minutes flat to go in the opening half. Pekin will receive the second half kickoff. They scored the first 2 touchdowns in this one. Libertyville just got on the board. Dragons get the play call from offensive coordinator Zach Williams. Jordan, back to pass. It's a screen to Sprecher. Space closing up fast, and a human bowling ball stays on his feet to the sideline.
That's really impressive by Tanner Sprecher. I mean, they had him swallowed up there, looked like plenty short of the first down marker, and he just kept going, and then he kept going again, and it looked like he might never stop. He's just really impressive to watch. I mean, he's a big, strong back, obviously with the screen pass there. He really used his size to his advantage on that play.
I was right there with you, Gavin. I was about to say he's wrapped up, or rather, Sprecher just so hard to bring down. He's on the sideline now. Tyler into the ball game. He'll take the carry and pick up a few.
Yeah, we're going to see a lot in that trenches. We've seen a lot of up-the-middle runs so far, and it's gone a little bit back and forth as of recent here, but Libertyville needs to continue to play their game. They've played pretty well to start out this drive, just gave up that big play to Tanner Sprecher. Definitely want to try and hold them to no scores here, maybe even get the ball back late in the second quarter. That would, again, help that momentum continue to shift. If you're Pekin, you want to keep moving that ball. Even those little plays, maybe chew down the clock a little bit. Don't allow Libertyville to go in feeling good at the halftime.
There's Tyler with some space. He bowls over a man and keeps the legs churning for the first down to the 45.
Like Tanner Sprecher, he can do that as well. I mean, we know how explosive he is with his speed, but he can just keep the legs turning, keep the legs going, and again, we see how that can help you picking up the first down there, getting a nice 11-yard gain on that play.
Where it is, first down, Pekin.
Crowd letting you know what the result of that play was. No need for us to say it. 1.5 minutes to play in the opening half. Pekin stacks the backfield. They give to Tyler to the outside, working around the blockers. He gets to the bench, nearly hit into the bench. Everybody's all good. And the clock stops at 1:21.
Being driven out of bounds at the Dragons.
Plenty of time left here for Pekin to come down and get a score. I mean, again, it looked like in the second quarter here, the Wildcats have started to take a little bit of that momentum away from Pekin. You know, the crowd's quieted down a little bit, but Pekin's moving the ball. They've had some nice plays, and it's a good opportunity, again, for them to take a good chunk of momentum into halftime.
2nd down, 6 to go from the 50. There goes Tyler again, plunging through the mud. That'll move the sticks once more. Clock stays running. Tyler headed to the sideline. Brody Keene checks into the game. Keene, one of Pekin's tight ends. Their tight ends are not often employed in the passing game, but Brody Keene came through in Week 7 against Metamora for the game-winning touchdown. He's on the right side of your screen. There's Tanner Sprecher. Again makes a man miss in the backfield. Bowls through another one, and he gets to the sideline. Tanner Sprecher running angry tonight.
Tanner Sprecher is just really impressive at that running back position. He can come out. We saw him break out with a nice burst of speed to the outside, but then kind of lowers that shoulder, able to fight for a few more yards. And I mean, he's just had so many big runs tonight. You know, we know Kanye Tyler's had a nice run into the end zone, but again, those big plays to help you move the ball down the field are arguably just as big, especially when you want to keep that consistency going for your offense.
Sprecher with 13 carries and 62 yards. Tyler tries to wiggle his way to find some space. Cannot. And a timeout is called by Doug Nutter and company, and we'll take this pause in the action to remind you of our great sponsor tonight, Zach Butler State Farm in Pekin. For all your insurance needs, whether it be health, life, auto, home, you name it, Zach Butler's got you covered. Give him a call, 309-347-3115, or visit him online at sfbutler.com. It's Zach Butler State Farm, your good neighbor in Pekin. Thanks for joining us tonight for 7A first-round football on ClutchSportsIL.com. It's the Pekin Dragons, the 15th seed in the 7A bracket, hosting their first home playoff game since 2013 against the Libertyville Wildcats, or the 18th seed in the 7A bracket after a 6-3 season out of the North Suburban Conference. Pekin out of the middle lineup. Both these teams really losing pretty badly in their last playoff games, Gavin. Libertyville against Nazareth Academy and future Michigan quarterback J.J. McCarthy back in 2019, and Pekin falling to Harvey Thornton. Got to figure that those games are on the minds of both the sides now.
Yeah, very similar situation with both teams. They don't want to have that same thing happen. And again, it's been a pretty tightly contested game so far. Pekin, though, a lot of momentum going.
And there goes that momentum as the snap is fielded by Sprecher. My goodness, looking like a baseball player sliding on artificial turf to snag that one. That's a huge loss, and now the Dragons are probably going to let this clock expire on the first half.
If you're Libertyville, you got to be thrilled with that. I mean, again, and just another error, maybe with the elements having a factor in that. But once again, if you're Libertyville, you got to take that momentum into the locker room. It was a good chance for Pekin, but if nothing else, you're still going to finish the half with the lead, and no disappointment in that.
Pekin running out of time here. They're going to get one more play in, and it's a give to Tyler. Tyler trying to make something happen. He slides into the sideline onto the track, and that's how our first half comes to a close. Well, Gavin, we mentioned the two-headed dragon. It's the two-headed dragon, Kanye Tyler and Tanner Sprecher, that have Pekin ahead 14-7 going to the halftime locker room, but it seemed like Libertyville was down, but they showed us that they weren't out with that touchdown pass from Connor Dickson to Tommy Latka.
Well, it looks like Libertyville maybe hasn't still been firing quite on all cylinders. I think they still have a lot that they can come in and do. But it looks like they're starting to piece it together. They've kept themselves in this game. The defense has settled down and played pretty well. But once again, Pekin has come out with a lot of those big plays. Sprecher, Tyler have come out with a lot of big runs, forcing a lot of big plays. So, again, it's a momentum thing. I think Pekin feeling good. But, again, if you're Wildcats, you're not in a bad spot either, and a lot of chance to get right back in this game.
We're going to step aside for a halftime break. We're going to come back, break down the first half action for you, get you some scores from around the area in Central Illinois. But before we do, one more reminder that tonight's presentation of Clutch Sports Media is brought to you by Zach Butler State Farm in Pekin. Visit sfbutler.com or give them a call at 309-347-3115. It's your good neighbor in Pekin, Zach Butler. Thanks for joining us tonight on CSM. Stay tuned for more playoff football after this. Welcome back live to Pekin, Illinois, home of IHSA 7A football. First round action. Right now it's the Pekin Dragons 14 and the Libertyville Wildcats 7. Thanks for joining us on your Friday night. It's Larry Larson and Gavin Russell, and with you and Gavin, Pekin on top thanks to 2 rushing touchdowns, kind of par for the course there. Kanye Tyler and Tanner Sprecher cashing in. Libertyville with a tough start, but then they got it on track thanks to a wild touchdown pass from Connor Dickson to Tommy Latka.
Well, it's been kind of all over the place. I mean, consistency is a big thing. I mean, first of all, looking at Pekin, I mean, they've had some big runs. You know, they really haven't passed at all in this game. So they've come out with some nice chunk runs. They've been able to come out, move the ball pretty well. Again, 2 rushing touchdowns to start this game. But if you're Libertyville, they've come up with some big stops on defense. And for their offense, they really haven't got that consistency. But one big play has them 1 score away in this game. So once again, it's a consistency thing, but there's a whole other half to play and a lot of action left to see.
And I'm definitely excited to see it. Pekin 7-2 entering this matchup. Libertyville 6-3 is the 18th seed in the 7A bracket. Pekin the 15th seed. Gavin, what do you say we take a look at some halftime stats? I see you got the live stats pulled up. What jumps out at you?
Well, first of all, looking at time of possession, Libertyville actually leads in time of possession, so Pekin has been able to move the ball a little more effectively. Libertyville just kind of slow and methodical, not a lot going on as they only have the 7 points. But you also look at third down conversions. Pekin is 5 of 7 versus Libertyville only 3 of 7. So coming up big, being able to move the sticks is big as well. Really kind of explains how this game has gone with ball movement and all those things associated with it.
Absolutely, and before we dig too deep into the second half keys, let's take a look at some scores from around the area at the half, at least around central Illinois. Morton leads Highland 28-7 at halftime. Seth Glatz 117 yards and 3 touchdowns. Seth Glatz doing Seth Glatz things there. Halftime in Washington for Clutch Sports Media's other game of the week. It's the Panthers 14 and Normal West nothing. Washington out of the Middle Illini, Normal West out of the Big 12. And you can listen to that one live on 101.1 ESPN Peoria or online at espnpeoria.com. Joey Wright, John Camosa on the call over there. And honestly, Gavin, not a lot of Friday night action around here tonight. A lot of games tomorrow. Small school, you got Farmington, Tremont, and we'll be at the Peoria Stadium for the Peoria Lions taking on Morgan Park.
Well, when you have two different days with playoff football, it's really exciting. You want to look ahead, want to get excited for those games. But right now we've got a great one going on here, a great one going on in Washington as Morton as well. So a lot of great Central Illinois playoff action. But again, a good one here in Pekin tonight. It's a 1-score game, really closely contested in that second quarter, and I'd expect some big plays by both sides coming out of the half.
I want to take a moment to thank our entire crew here in Pekin tonight. Jonathan Michael at the controls, Francisco Alonso braving the elements on top of the press box running our camera. Josh Schwam also along for the ride in the elements, partially indoors, kind of depends on the point in the game. Joey Wright on the graphics tonight. And special thanks to Pekin Athletic Director Barry Gervey for having us out here. Just moments away from the second half kickoff. And Gavin, we talked about the keys to the game to open up the game, and taking a look at those keys to the game again very briefly, what kind of jumps out, what needs to be fixed before we get underway here?
Well, balanced offense, you know, Pekin has come out, they've come out with a very traditional looking Pekin offense with the run game. It's gotten bottled up a little bit, but they've still been able to move the ball. I still think it'd be a good idea to maybe switch up the playbook, kind of balance out that offense and kind of put a little bit of pressure on that Libertyville defense. And for Libertyville, they really haven't found that footing yet. They've had a couple of big plays that have kept them in this game. Again, continue to find that footing, continue to find that consistency. That'll help them stay in this game, and for them, they would hope get the lead.
Pekin will receive the opening kickoff of the half. And so that's a chance for them to go ahead 2 scores once again, as Libertyville will break their huddle and boot it away. Their defense, Gavin, has looked pretty good, with the exception of a few big plays. Tanner Sprecher, Kanye Tyler capitalizing on those, but their defense probably needs to buckle down here to open the half.
Yeah, both teams, though, and another thing I want to mention is the penalties. We saw a few early ones, but both teams have started to play really well disciplined. I think that's gone a long way for Libertyville on both sides of the ball. They've not really hurt themselves too much with the penalties as of late.
Now we're ready for football after the halftime break. Libertyville boots it away, and we are underway in the second half. Kanye Tyler fields the ground ball, surveys for some blocks, gets some, bounces off a tackler, brought down short of the 40.
Nice job not to let him get out too far, because if he got some more open field there, it could have been dangerous, could have taken a big kickoff return for a touchdown. But once again, first initial contact, you want to make that the one you tackle the guy on. Libertyville's had some struggles with that. They've gotten run over a little bit by Tyler and Sprecher tonight. See if maybe they try to go with a little more aggressive approach when it comes to the tackling aspect of the game here in the second half.
It's definitely an adjustment to make on this muddy natural grass surface. 1st and 10 for the Dragons, first drive of the second half, and it starts with a give to Tanner Sprecher. Swims through a tackle past the 40, and he's swarmed and swallowed up.
Looking at that play, it looked like the Libertyville defense had a few opportunities to maybe swallow that one up right at the line of scrimmage, but nice blocking there, good awareness by the offensive lineman, kind of created some of those extra holes, and he was able to get a gain of about 5 on the play.
Dragons looking to the sideline for the play call. Head coach Doug Nutter in his 14th season alongside offensive coordinator Zach Williams. There's Sprecher. This time he's wrapped up on first contact. Good job by Caleb Christensen to get there.
Those fresh legs on defense, not having guys playing on both sides of the ball, certainly going to come in handy here in the second half. It's a very grinded out type game on the muddy surface, and again, having those fresh legs to be able to kind of come in there and make a stop is huge. It's a big third down, though. Not an easy third down. We'll see if either team can come with a big play to bring some momentum back for either their offense or Pekin to continue with their offense.
Pekin has tried just one pass tonight. It was complete. Scott Jordan, the junior quarterback's going to try another one. He had Bo Benassi, and it falls through his hands. Could have been an interception as well. Also fell through Austin Gomez's hands, hit him right in the helmet.
Well, that looked like a good play, actually. I mean, it looked like Benassi had plenty of space there, just couldn't corral that ball. Again, that balanced offense, maybe we'll see Doug Nutter try to take a few shots with the passing game. Didn't work out there, but so far, so good for the Libertyville defense as they'll try to come back with an offensive response.
Brody Keene will boot it away. 2 returners back deep for the Wildcats. Connor Dickson, the quarterback, is one of them. Charlie True, the other. Keene gets it away, and boy, is it a good one. Dixon fields it, has some open space. He's going to make something happen here. Gets to the sideline before he's bumped out of bounds. Got to be careful near those benches, and you see good sportsmanship there. Good to see both teams helping each other up.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes when you see a play like that, you'd assume, oh, maybe a late hit, maybe a little extra contact, but it's just real slick over there. I mean, everybody's sliding around. Can't really control exactly what you're doing, especially when you're coming in for a hard tackle. But once again, good sportsmanship. Nice to see everybody's getting along.
Thanks for joining us tonight. Friday Night Football Game of the Week brought to you by Zach Butler State Farm. 7A first round action. Pekin hosting its first home playoff game since 2013. Both these squads looking to get back in the playoff win column after losses in 2019. Dixon throws over the middle right to Tanner Sprecher. He's going to go all the way if he gets the chance to beat Scott, and he does. Tanner Sprecher, pick 6.
Incredible play by Tanner Sprecher. I mean, he's making plays on both sides of the ball now. Libertyville trying to open up that playbook, going with a pass, maybe catch Pekin off guard. They did not catch Tanner Sprecher off guard, and he takes it all the way to the end zone. I think momentum has just swung way back in the favor of the Dragons.
Second pick 6 of the season for Tanner Sprecher, the junior linebacker. Have a night, Tanner Sprecher, his second touchdown. Now Miley Hansen is on with a chance to make this a 21-7 ball game. So hard to bring Sprecher down, especially when everybody's momentum is moving the other way on the field. Hansen 2 for 2 tonight. Finds her balance in the mud. Flags fly. Looks like this one is going to be false start. It is indeed false start on the Dragons. That'll back them up a few yards.
False start against the Dragons. Will step off 5.
Hansen has quite the story as to how she found her way onto this Pekin Dragons football team. She was playing soccer at a facility here in Pekin with offensive coordinator Zach Williams' daughters. Williams saw her kicking, saw how good of a leg she had, and wanted to bring her on. She misses the extra point there, her first miss of the night. But Hansen definitely has a good enough leg to do it, as we've seen so far tonight. Score holds 20-7.
She's been pretty money all year. I mean, you know, you get a few missed kicks here and there. That was a tough play right there. Backed up a few yards and in the mud, not an easy kick.
And we want to take this brief pause in the action to remind you that tonight's broadcast on ClutchSportsIL.com is brought to you by Zach Butler State Farm in Pekin. For all your insurance needs, give Zach a call at 309-347-3115 or visit him online at sfbutler.com. It's Zach Butler, your good neighbor in Pekin. Thanks for joining us tonight on CSM. Pekin ahead 2 scores. Now this next drive really feels crucial for the Wildcats. Coming off a turnover, you got to get that confidence back.
They really haven't brought out that approach we saw them having in the second quarter. Obviously an unfortunate play there with the pick 6. One play, though, we've seen can be a big difference maker. We saw that on the big touchdown pass, over 70-yard touchdown pass in the second quarter for the Wildcats. Now the Dragons making an extra big play for themselves. Tanner Sprecher on the pick 6. So, again, they might just need another big play to kind of help that confidence coming back. And, again, you want to stay in this game.
Mason Nauman sends a line drive right into the hands of an up man. He swims to the outside, gets a little space for himself, brought down short of that 40-yard line. Luke Compare, the kicker, gets a taste of his own medicine, so to speak, picks up a few yards on the return.
Not bad, all things considered. We've seen them start with worse field position in this game, so getting yourself up around that 40-yard line, got about 60 yards to go to the end zone. Definitely manageable, and once again, if you can break off for a big play here, Latka or one of these other offensive weapons for the Wildcats, that's going to definitely really help get some momentum going.
We'll see how Dixon and company respond after the pick 6, and they start with a give up the gut to Latka. He's got nowhere to go.
Really surprised me tonight how the offensive line for the Wildcats really just hasn't been able to make those holes like they have earlier in the year. But I think, again, a lot of credit goes to Pekin. They've been able to fill those gaps. Even if there have been those holes, really good awareness for the defenders for Pekin, and they're able to come up with real solid tackles, not allowing any extra yardage after the first contact.
Wildcats jerseys caked in mud. Hard to tell who's who. High snap. And they give to Charlie True. Looking for space on the outside. Doesn't get much. He'll pick up about 2 yards to make it third and somewhat manageable. Charlie True, a big playmaker for this team. We have not called his name much tonight. I asked head coach Mike Jones for Libertyville, who's kind of been a surprise for you this year? And he said, Charlie True. He's a guy that can kind of do a little bit of everything. He's just a football player, and that's probably one of the best comments you can get from one of your coaches.
Great all-around guy, it seems like, and we haven't heard his name a lot, as you mentioned. Again, see if they start to utilize some of their other weapons in the second half.
Dixon takes a shot down the sideline. Nowhere near complete. Trying to get a number on the receiver down the field. Looked like that was True. And now the Wildcats find themselves in another punting situation. Their defense is really going to have to buckle down now. Kanye Tyler and Levi Burke will try and return this one as Dixon gets set to send it away. Line drive kick in the direction of Burke. He scoops it up and falls flat on his chest.
We saw in the second quarter, the Libertyville defense came up with a fumble recovery. That, again, then led to a score for the Libertyville offense. So we'll see if maybe they come up with a big play here, get an interception, maybe come up with a 3-and-out or something like that. that, again, ignites that Libertyville offense, maybe gives them a little hope, you know, saying, okay, we have a chance here. Our defense is playing solid. But the defense has to do their job for Libertyville first, and Pekin, again, wants to come out and really set the tone. Already have 1 score in this quarter, would love to make it 2.
The Wildcats fans that made the 3-hour trek down are looking for something to cheer about. Dragons with a chance to really kind of break this one open midway through the third. Scott Jordan gives it to Tyler. He's brought down after a nice pickup on first down.
Those little gains there of about 5-6 yards, they add up. Talked about it all game long. And that's really what's been the key for Pekin. They've been able to hold on to the ball. They've been able to move the ball down the field and getting those 5-6 yard runs, and they kind of turn into those big plays.
Jordan in the pistol. There's Tyler again. And he's hit right at the line of scrimmage. Nice job by the Wildcats defensive line, bouncing back there. Third down and medium for Pekin.
The halftime stats, you know, Pekin was 5 of 7, I believe, on third down conversion. That's a pretty good rate there of being able to convert on third down. So it's going to be really important that they stop them on these third down situations, especially back here with a lot of yardage to go. Libertyville will need to stop here on third down.
Injury timeout as John Stokovich has helped to the Libertyville sideline. It's a bad break if you're Libertyville. Stokovich, one of the starting linebackers for the Wildcats. Hope he's all right. 2 receivers for Jordan here. The give to Tyler, lowers his shoulder, lunges for the line to gain. I think he's going to be short, Gavin.
It does look like it, maybe about 2 yards short right there, maybe 1 or 2 yards. It's very close, but it appears they'll bring on the punt team. That's a big stop right there. We've seen the Dragons be very good on third down. Not a lot of yards to work with there. Very easily could have picked up a first down, but Libertyville coming with a nice stop, solid tackling, and kind of filled that gap, not allowing him to move the sticks.
Libertyville's defense bending a little bit there, but not breaking. Brody Keene, high snap, gives it the boot. Looks like the Wildcats are just going to let this one be downed inside the 20. Good punt by Keene. Long field to drive for the Wildcats. We'll see if they can get back onto the scoreboard and make it a 1-score game once more.
Big stat that stands out to me right now for the Wildcats, 23 total rushing yards. That's just brutal. I mean, we know Pekin's had some big plays, but they have 166 rushing yards, so that is a big swing right now. Libertyville just has not been able to find that consistency. I think they just need that one big rushing play. They've had that play passing. They need that play on rushing, the rushing side of the game.
Senior quarterback Connor Dickson back onto the field, throws left and completes to Scott. Scott bumped out of bounds near the sideline. Gavin, I'm sure Coach Jones knows that running game hasn't had much success tonight, and you can really tell he's opened up the playbook into the second half, for better or for worse.
Yeah, I mean, again, they threw that pick 6, which is unfortunate, but we see they're trying to get more aggressive on the air attack. If that's what it takes, sure, they'll settle down. Dixon will start getting a little more accurate, and just getting those gains in the air work just as good as getting them on the ground.
In case you're just joining us, Tanner Sprecher with a pick 6 to open the second half scoring. Has a score at 20-7 in favor of the Dragons. There's Latka. Latka sprinting through the defense, down the sideline, brought down into Pekin territory.
They had that big play on the air attack for the touchdown in the first half. They needed that big play with running the ball as well, so maybe it's going to give them a little bit of confidence. Once again, it looked to me like they just weren't sure of themselves. They weren't sure of where they wanted to go, maybe the way they wanted to cut back, get into the open field, but that play looked very solid. A lot of confidence you can see with that play, and really well executed.
The Wildcats are going to hurry to the line of scrimmage. 1st and 10, Dixon with some time, trying to direct traffic, and he overthrew his man downfield in the direction of Latka.
had some of the defenders falling down on that play. It looked like they're kind of slipping towards the middle of the field. So, you know, the pass rusher's not really able to get up and make that pressure. Again, nice credit to the offensive line there, but the elements once again playing a factor.
Those big fellas up front, so key for the Wildcats. Sideline warning against the Wildcats, so no yardage on that penalty, and frankly, I didn't even see the flag.
Second down and 10 for Libertyville.
Second and 10. Dixon and Latka in the backfield. There goes Latka. Doesn't have much space. Gets through the line of scrimmage. Picks up a few before being tossed to the mud.
Not a bad run there. They're starting to get a little farther into that, but it's third down. And third down conversions are key. I wonder if they were able to get this one at least close to the first down marker, if they would just go ahead and go for it right now. They have a short field to work with, and again, you need a score about halfway through the third quarter.
Dixon with one back and four wide receivers. Play action. Down the sideline, has Scott wide open. He stays on his feet for the touchdown.
Really nice pass there. They're getting aggressive in the air. We knew it proved to be a disadvantage when they threw the pick six. But you can see we've seen a couple of passes on this drive that have proved to work out really well. And it gives them a score that puts them within one score of this game.
Christian Gavrick on the touchdown reception, rather. That was not Andrew Scott. That was Gavrick. Connor Dickson's favorite target hauls it in. And boy, do we have a ball game here in Pekin. Compare on for the extra point. High snap, but the hold is down and the kick is good. So the Wildcats are within 6. And while we've got a moment, we'll remind you that tonight's presentation of Clutch Sports Media is brought to you by Zach Butler State Farm in Pekin. For all your insurance needs, call 309-347-3115 or visit Zach online at sfbutler.com. It's Zach Butler, your good neighbor in Pekin, Illinois. Thanks to Zach for his support of Clutch Sports Media and Pekin Dragons athletics all season long. Special shout out as well to Pekin Athletic Director Barry Gervey, making it all happen tonight despite the rain, but it looks like the rain has subsided. Thank God, because it was a tough first half for both teams in the conditions.
Absolutely, and you know, something else to think about here as we head about halfway through the third quarter. It's a really tough game. You know, you start getting to wear down a little bit, but a lot of seniors out here, a lot riding on the line for these teams. These players obviously want to go out and keep their season going with a win, so they got to kind of dig deep as we kind of get into the later stages of this game. But both teams have really come out and executed really well for what they wanted to do. Obviously some miscues for both teams, but a really closely contested game, something that we expected to see tonight. And again, Libertyville just one touchdown away from potentially even taking the lead.
Libertyville's defense has come through with timely stops all night. Now just trailing by just one score. Get a good look at the mud there here at Memorial Stadium. Blooper kick fielded at the 35. And a good return from Pekin here. If I'm not mistaken, Chase Frainer fielding that one. Hard to tell with these muddy uniforms. I think that's Shaman Handigan, rather. But either way, Pekin with favorable field position to try and go ahead 2 scores again.
Absolutely. Pekin, they had that big play defensively. We'll see if they can get that going again offensively here in the second half. They did a pretty good job moving the ball pretty consistently, but the Libertyville defense has come up with some stops.
Jordan to Sprecher. Sprecher picks up a few. Wildcats trying to get in there and rip up the football. Look at their defense right now, Gavin. So fired up. They've got a lot of energy. They know that they're back in this ball game.
Well, one of the keys of the game, Pekin needed to keep the crowd going. They needed to keep that energy flowing. It's starting to be taken away a little bit by Libertyville, so see if we can get that spark play for Pekin. But Libertyville wants to continue this trend, stop them short.
Jordan back to pass, slings it out to the right, and that pass is lit up. A big hit against Levi Burke. Burke's first reception tonight makes it 3rd and short. But again, you look at the sideline, you look at the fans that have traveled from Libertyville, they're juiced.
Absolutely. It's a big 3rd down. We saw the Wildcats, get a big stop on the last 3rd down Pekin had. Pekin was pretty good in the first half on those conversions. So, again, a big play here. You don't necessarily think those 3rd downs, but this is a big play.
Tanner Sprecher on the field. He's got 2 touchdowns tonight. Play action. Slung out to the left and complete to Chase Frainer. Tiptoes out of bounds to move the chains.
That's a couple of passes on this drive, and Doug Nutter obviously trying to balance out that offense a little bit. We didn't see so much in the first half, but maybe he recognizes they're starting to swallow up that run game a little bit. Wants to kind of spread them out again and be able to move that ball consistently. Big 3rd down conversion for the Dragons.
Chase Frainer, a defensive mainstay for Pekin, getting some time on the offensive side of the ball throughout the season, comes through there. Dragons into Wildcat territory on the 36-yard line. There's Sprecher. Spins through another tackle, still on his feet, moving forward, dragging men with him as he goes.
First contact looked to be even before the 30-yard line there, and he was able to pick up about 6 or 7 more yards. I mean, that is incredible. Tanner Sprecher, really tough runner. You just get in there, lower his shoulder, and keep the legs turning, able to get that first down right there.
Jordan with Tyler into the game now, slips, recovers, dives forward. Gain of 1 or 2 on first down. Tyler with a touchdown tonight, Sprecher with a rushing touchdown in addition to a pick 6. That's the scoring for the Dragons. Scoring for Libertyville, 2 passing touchdowns. Probably not what you'd expect.
Whatever works, and for Libertyville, they'll take what they can get. They're breaking off those big plays, and we'll see if they continue to go to the air attack when they get back on offense, but their defense needs to step up here. They had a chance to stop on 3rd down. Good 2nd down opportunity for them to hold them short.
4th quarter draws near. Tyler upended at the line of scrimmage. Another big stop by the Libertyville defense. They're going to have to bear down here on 3rd down in their own territory.
Libertyville in a good spot here on 3rd down. Few yards to go if you're Pekin, but we've seen Tanner Sprecher. We saw on this drive as well a pass that got them a big play to move the first down. So really this one could go either way. Both teams need to execute what they're trying to do, though.
Bo Benassi and Levi Burke out wide. Jordan looking for Burke, incomplete.
Interesting play call there. I thought they might play a little more conservative, just try to move the sticks and continue to grind down this game. They go pretty aggressive. Makes me wonder, though, if they are just going to just try and take this on 4th down and just try to move the sticks that way. Either way, though, Libertyville in a good spot, trying to come with a stop and get the ball back.
The offense is going to stay on the field at least to try and draw Libertyville off sides.
4th down for the Dragons.
Whistles blow, and a timeout is taken by somebody. Little confusion here. Maybe not even a timeout. Trying to figure this one out. Looks like the officials are going to converge and discuss something. Wouldn't be a high school football game without a little bit of confusion at some point.
We are temporarily having clock difficulties.
Clock difficulties. What do you know?
Well, last time we were out here at Pekin, or at least the last time I was out here at Pekin, we had the sprinklers come on in the middle of the game. That was all the way back in week 2. Cody Roskins was on the call for that one. A great clip I had on my Twitter account.
Definitely made for some good comedy. In the last game that you called with us, Gavin, if I'm not mistaken, or at least the game before the last, was at Peoria Stadium when the clock wasn't working at all.
Yeah, that's a really tough situation. I have to imagine that is a nightmare for the coaches and the players and the officials, but even just for the fan or the broadcaster, that is a really, really tough situation when you have no idea how much time is left. So glad we have at least a somewhat working scoreboard here at Memorial Stadium tonight.
Gavin, you got to imagine this probably benefits Pekin before fourth down. As they keep the offense onto the field. They've got their play call installed. They know what they're doing. And at least right now, it looks like they're going to go for it.
You don't want to overthink it, though. And same with the defense. I mean, both teams just have to execute. The crowd's getting loud. Everybody's into it. See if they can do it.
Frainer in motion. Jordan throws over the middle. Complete to Levi Burke. The Dragons respond. They go ahead by 2 scores once again.
Doug Nutter is pulling this out of his back pocket, going really aggressive. That's 2 deep passes in a row. First one overthrew him a little bit, but he goes back, lets Scotty Jordan rip it again, and gets the long passing touchdown as we near the end of the third quarter.
There's so much to be said about the runners for Pekin, but boy, does Scott Jordan have an arm, and we see it there.
That balanced offense really coming into play here on this latest drive, and it ends in a touchdown.
Dragons are going to go for 2 after Hansen missed the extra point last time. Sprecher in the backfield with Jordan. Here's Sprecher. Plunges into the end zone, and Pekin gets to 28-14.
Getting a little more back and forth action here. We've seen some big plays. Libertyville came up with a big touchdown pass, and Pekin responds with one of their own. They're keeping the crowd in the game. They're keeping the momentum to their side, and Pekin's doing a really nice job of holding down this game. Even though they haven't been perfect, it's expected, but they are coming up and making the big plays at the right time, and they hold another 2-score lead in this game.
Pekin out of the Middle-Illini Conference, playing in its first home playoff game since 2013, and they are making the most of it. They were fired up for this game. The community was fired up for this game, and they are performing well on the big stage. Libertyville has some coming back to do. In case you're just joining us, Pekin jumped out to a 14-0 lead thanks to rushing touchdowns from Tanner Sprecher and Kanye Tyler. The Wildcats came back with a passing touchdown before the half. The second half scoring started with a Tanner Sprecher pick 6. Libertyville bounced back with a passing touchdown into the hands of Christian Gavrick. And now the Dragons score for the 4th time tonight thanks to Levi Burke. Nauman swings the leg, pop-up punt down the sideline, pop-up kick rather. Hit by an official to keep it in bounds. Now flags fly as it rolls out of bounds. A unique play there, to say the least.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, we've seen some issues with the field, with the kicks and the snaps, and looks like this might be a free kick out of bounds situation, which would be good for Libertyville. We'll have to see what the official call is, but if you're Libertyville, you certainly want that good field position to start out with. And it is appearing to be a free kick out of bounds situation. So going to start at about the 40-yard line, potentially, or not.
There was a flag on the
It was a kick out of bounds. So Libertyville will indeed start with favorable position at their own 35. 1:45 to go in the third. Wildcats continuing to try to keep this scoring going. Pass out to Nolan Wiley. He hauls it in. His first catch of the night. And the senior is bumped out of bounds after a gain of 5.
Early in the game, the Wildcats, running the ball pretty much almost every play, maybe a pass here and there. Now it almost seems their approach is completely reversed, going with more passing than rushing and maybe try to work in a rush play here and there, but the passing has proved to be much more effective.
In this second half, the Wildcats have really gotten it going. Offensive line doing a great job with pass protection. Tommy Latka has space up the middle. That'll be enough to move the sticks.
You have to think, with them passing so much as of recent here in the second half, you have to think it's maybe keeping Pekin thinking, maybe a little fake there, and allowed him to get a little more space to run. Not all those guys from the secondary and the linebacker core coming up to try to stuff that. So, again, balanced offense has really proved true here for both teams, but especially Libertyville as of recent.
Libertyville up to 119 passing yards to 62 rushing. Dixon gives to Latka on the jet sweep. He evades the first tackle, but not the second.
Just didn't want to commit to anything there. He could have kept going to the outside, maybe could have cut back a little bit earlier, but made a couple of moves, and it just really kind of stood him still. And they made a nice tackle. So, again, kind of committing to the play, executing well is going to be key here, especially on those run plays.
Mason Vickery with the tackle there for a loss. This could be the final play of the third quarter. We may have already seen it. Wildcats looking towards the sideline. They're going to get a play off. And Dixon's going to take a shot, looking for Wiley with the catch. Down to the 20, inside the 15.
What a throw by Connor Dickson. I mean, I watched some film from early in the regular season. He does have an ability to really make those passes really in tight windows, and certainly that was one there. But a nice job by the receiver to haul it in. I mean, he had to keep moving, get his hands up there and corral that ball. Made a big play at the end of the quarter, and that could take some serious momentum going into the late stages of this game.
We're headed to the fourth quarter in the first round of 7A action, and we'll take this break to remind you that tonight's action is brought to you by Zach Butler State Farm in Pekin. For all your insurance needs, give Zach a call at 309-347-3115 or visit him online at sfbutler.com. Zach's got you covered for all your insurance needs. It's your good neighbor in Pekin, Zach Butler. Thanks to Zach for helping us bring you the action tonight as Libertyville is driving, entering the fourth quarter. That passing game coming to life out of the halftime locker room, and especially after Dixon threw that pick six. Looks like he's kind of turned on the Jets a little bit, perhaps using that as motivation.
Well, maybe a play call thing there too, because that looked to be more like a pass up towards the middle. After that pick six, we've kind of seen him pass more towards the sideline when he takes those deep shots close to the sideline, so not giving the Pekin defense as much opportunity to pick off the ball. It's worked so far, and whatever works, you're going to need every score you can get, especially being down 2 right now.
The first play of the fourth quarter feels like a big one. 1st and 10 for Libertyville on Pekin's 11-yard line. Connor Dickson, senior quarterback, making the switch to QB from wide receiver in the offseason this year. Keeps it himself, looking for space up the gut. Doesn't have much, but he picks up a few on first down.
The way that Pekin can grind down the ball with the football, you definitely want to try and score quick here, give yourself plenty of time, maybe give your defense a little more confidence to make that stop and then get the ball back. So crucial that they can get a touchdown here quickly to stay in this game.
The clock is on the Dragons' side, not just because they're on their home turf, and the clock wasn't working a little bit in the third quarter. 2nd and 8. Dixon looking to pass to the corner of the end zone, batted away.
You have to like the idea there. We've seen them take some of those shots towards the corner, going up the sideline there. Nice job by the member of the secondary. I didn't get who that was, but really good idea there. It stops the clock, so you maybe get a chance to make another couple passing plays here.
Dixon was looking for Gavrick there. Gavrick earlier this season set a school record for receptions in a single game with 19.
They can be a passing team, Larry, and we've seen that quite certainly here in the second half.
They're going to spread it out here. Dixon wants to run with it. Jump throw to the end zone, incomplete. Dixon couldn't channel his inner Derek Jeter for the touchdown pass there. 4th down coming up, but there's a flag down. Ineligible receiver, perhaps, against Libertyville.
We've seen those,
could be costly.
Yeah, we've seen those penalties kind of settle down for both teams, but comes at a really bad time to have another one right there, especially it's 4th down now. You really have no option but to go for it here. And definitely at least need to pick up the first down yardage or basically just score. It's that close.
Looks like it's a replay, third down. So yardage rather than loss of downs. Pekin takes the yardage. Dixon again, empty set. He's definitely going to look to pass. Dances around, throws in traffic, batted around, and falls harmlessly to the turf. Liberty fans exhale.
Yeah, definitely had to be collectively holding their breath there. That ball was just kind of ping-ponging around in the air, and that could have been intercepted by a number of different players on that tip ball. They have to be fortunate, or have to be thankful, rather, that did not get picked off.
Pass interference against Libertyville on the play. And Pekin will decline it this time. So they take the down rather than the yardage. That makes it 4th down and 13, probably a wise call.
Smart call right there. I mean, all you got to do is just hold them. It's got a 4th and long. The crowd's getting fired up. Libertyville needs a big play here.
Could be the biggest play of the game. Dixon has a man to the end zone, incomplete. What a play by the Dragons secondary. That was Cam Hodgson in there to break it up.
We've seen them go to a very similar looking play, kind of just throwing it up, a one-on-one matchup with the receiver and the member of the secondary, and Pekin won that both times they tried that here in the red zone. Turnover on downs, undisciplined play from Libertyville's offense, and it cost them.
Pekin now with a chance to seal their second-round hopes. It would be the first time since 2011 that the Dragons were victorious in the first round of the postseason.
Two biggest things here for Pekin. You don't want to give up the ball, and you want to keep this drive going.
Jet sweep for Frainer, weaving in and out of traffic. Nice pickup on first down. Frainer having a nice little role in the offense tonight.
Absolutely, getting everybody involved. We've seen the passing come to life for Doug Nutter's group tonight. We have an injured Wildcat, it appears, on the field.
And Gavin, honestly, I'm happy that we haven't seen more injuries tonight, because playing on a surface like this, I don't want to say it's like an ice rink, but maybe close.
Well, the ice rink for Pekin is just across the way here, so maybe brought it outside tonight. But no, all seriousness, it is very muddy, can be a little bit dangerous, maybe twisting around, falling down. It's nice to see that not too many serious injuries or very many injuries at all. Very tough played game, though, and a lot of good action up to this point.
Nate Farmer helped off the field, one of the senior captains for head coach Mike Jones' squad. I asked Coach Jones about Nate Farmer and the other captains, and he said most of the captains are lead by example types, but not Nate. He's that one vocal leader. So you want to have him out there. Here's a give up the gut. Not much room to run there.
This is a big play. Libertyville has a chance to force a 3-and-out here, and even though they didn't score on their last offensive drive, they could get the ball back with a shorter field. Plenty of time left for them to make a big play. And again, it's a 2-score game. We've seen them cut that in half, just haven't been able to get that gap.
Scott Jordan keeps it himself, finds the sideline for the first down.
But as we've seen a lot tonight, the third down conversions have been big for the Dragons, and Scott Jordan keeps it himself there. Nice job to just be able to move the sticks. Ball security, being able to keep the ball moving, that's really going to be able to help Pekin seal this game tonight.
Scott Jordan, probably not somebody you'd consider a dual threat quarterback, but when you need him to run, he can.
Yeah, he's definitely capable. They've got a lot of good guys that can make those plays, those playmakers, so they don't have to rely on him as much, but they certainly can use him.
Under 10 minutes to play. Winner of this one punches their ticket to the second round of the playoffs as Sprecher punches that one up the gut.
Sprecher on the carry.
Sprecher, Gavin, is perhaps the most ideal player to have out there on the field as you're trying to chew the clock, because he's a guy that can just go north-south at will.
We've seen Kanye Tyler in the first half. He's made some big plays, but Tanner Sprecher's just been that guy that's been able to just chew off some yardage, been able to kind of chew up that clock, so to speak, a little bit, and really he is the ideal player. Really helps keep the ball moving.
Sprecher, 82 yards on 20 carries. Here's his 21st, and it's a big one. Breaking tackles to midfield.
Tanner Sprecher on the carry.
Having a really nice night. I mean, he's taking a big load of big workload along with Kanye Tyler. Not quite as much in the second half as they've gone to the air attack a little bit more. But Tanner Sprecher, again, keeping those legs turning, keeping everything going, and the momentum is staying on the side of Pekin.
Scott Jordan and company looking to the sideline, and offensive coordinator Zach Williams for the play call. As that clock winds down, Pekin can taste it a little bit more. There's Sprecher again, brought down for a loss. And again, Gavin, this game is not over, but Libertyville needs to come up with a stop before Pekin picks up a few more firsts.
Feels like every second that ticks away off the clock is just a little closer. Pekin gets to the victory. Obviously, they're trying to chew off some clock here, but a big stop here, maybe if they force a turnover, Libertyville has a shot to put themselves back in this game, but Pekin really kind of controls the fate of this game. They can run the time down, keep the ball moving. They should be in a good position here.
Ball on the 50, 2nd and 10. Jordan back to pass, taking a shot for Burke, in and out of the breadbasket.
That's a really close play. I mean, that would have really helped move the ball. I mean, had he stayed on his feet and caught that, he probably would have been in there for the touchdown, potentially. Surprises me, though, again, we're seeing that more aggressiveness. You know, it surprises me that they're still going with that aggressive mentality, maybe looking to put it away in good fashion on the home field, but maybe the best thing for them here is just continue to grind that ball in the run game.
Not sure if our crowd mic picked it up, but Pekin student section chanting, "Start up the bus." Tyler starting up the offense, gets to the sideline, gets to the sticks.
Maybe Doug Nutter.
Levi Burke, rather. It was Tyler.
Maybe Doug Nutter assumed that they would be able to just pick up that third down on the ground, that first down on the ground anyway, so maybe try to take a shot there. But once again, I would expect them to continue to run the ball, keep that clock rolling, because really they do control the fate of this game tonight.
Clock continues to wind down. 2 wide receivers for Jordan. Hard count, brings a few rushers. And a flag is down. Offsides against Libertyville. That'll move Pekin ahead 5. Jordan gets him with the hard count.
We've seen him try it a few times tonight, and it works there. Pekin has done a pretty good job limiting those penalties. Libertyville's had some that have just been really untimely and have kind of hurt them in a number of different ways.
1st and 5 on the 34-yard line of Libertyville. There goes Sprecher. Stays on his feet. How many times have we said that tonight? Still fighting his way, and he didn't go down. And now a flag flies. Sprecher looking at the officials as if to say, I'm still running.
Yeah, really interesting there. I mean, he had the pile moving. We know how powerful he can be. He just kept the legs turned. He was still going.
The penalty is a personal foul against Libertyville. That won't help their cause whatsoever.
Back-to-back plays with penalties. If Libertyville, it's really looking like you might start running out of time here. They need to try to dig down deep and see if they can get a stop here. Maybe, again, come up with a big play. They're one big play away from maybe getting right back into this, but Pekin's doing everything right at the moment. They're keeping the ball moving. They obviously haven't given up the ball yet, and again, they're nearing a touchdown, which could really seal this game for them.
Pekin Dragons with the community behind them trying to punch their ticket to the second round for the first time since 2011. Libertyville needs a turnover or a stop. Jordan, they give up the gut to Sprecher, brought down in the backfield. There's a start.
Yeah, we've seen this a couple of times. They've had an opportunity to get them to stop on the third down. They had a 3rd and 10, I believe, at one point and just gave up a big run play. So it's about playing 3 solid downs if you're the Libertyville defense. Looks like they're just starting to get worn down a little bit by all these run plays that Pekin is bringing out here on this latest drive.
2nd down and long. And although all of these plays are sort of obvious run situations, you can't help but think of that shot that Pekin took earlier in this drive. So that's always in their back pocket. Frainer in motion. They give up the gut to Sprecher, lowers his shoulder, keeps the legs churning. Nice pickup on 2nd down to make up for the loss.
It's going to be a tough 3rd down again. We know Pekin is more than capable, but Libertyville has to do their job. They got to come up with the stop.
Injury timeout for Libertyville. It's another thing you just don't want to see, especially at this point in the game. Looks like it might be Trenton Van Boning. It's not Van Boning, rather 34 rather than 74. Jack Nevins walks off the field under his own power, which is great to see. But Gavin, you can feel the sense throughout the home side of the bleachers. We're on the home side looking out towards the visitors' side. You can feel the anticipation starting to build. This crowd's ready to explode.
I mean, you're watching this game. A couple minutes goes by, you look up back at the scoreboard and realize the clock is really worn down, and Pekin is doing everything right. See if they can come with a big 3rd down conversion.
A run to the outside. No 3rd down conversion for Kanye Tyler. A big stop for the Wildcats. The clock will keep running. Now it comes decision time. Do you think you go for it here if you're the Dragons? Maybe try to take a shot to move the sticks?
Well, I don't think that they're going to be able to make a field goal from this distance. I think their best shot would be go for it on 4th down. If you don't get it, you give the ball away, but you give Libertyville poor field position. If you do able to get the 1st down, maybe get a touchdown, you really help start to seal this game away.
It wouldn't surprise me if Pekin came out, tried to draw Libertyville off sides, and then burned a timeout to take as much time off the clock as possible. They're taking their time. Kanye Tyler in the backfield with Scott Jordan. Jordan back to pass. It's a screen to Tyler. He's got some space. Charges ahead. The ball came out. Does Libertyville have it? They do.
This is big, though. We have a flag on the play, but this flag could be on Pekin. It could be a holding call. This is a big turn of events here in this game.
Waiting on the official's call. Of course, if it is on Pekin, Libertyville will decline. Or they may not, considering it's 4th down. Deliberations ongoing. Wildcats, either way, Gavin, will likely get a chance here, but it's going to take a borderline miracle. Looks like the play call, or the penalty call rather, will be illegal receiver downfield, declined, of course, as that would result in another chance on 4th down for the Dragons. Now the Wildcats come out for a do-or-die drive. Their season hangs in the balance. Connor Dickson trying to extend his career a little bit more. Steps up and throws and hits Nolan Wiley over the middle for a big gain.
Those are the kind of plays they're going to need. And, of course, in high school, the clock stops when you get those 1st downs. So you save yourself some precious seconds, even if it's just 5 or 10 seconds. Nice to see those big plays for them. They need to keep moving the ball down the field, though. It's got to be consistency here.
Wildcats with all 3 timeouts. Dixon out of the pocket. Stays in the backfield, and it's intercepted. That will seal the deal. Connor drowns the junior, picks off Connor Dickson, and perhaps Libertyville's second-round hopes.
That's a really tough play. Just a poor decision to throw it into double coverage there. You have to think he might just want to keep that ball himself and try to run out with it, but tries to force it, tries to do a little bit too much, and that really looks like it could have cost them the game.
Pekin will get the football back at midfield after they fumble at Libertyville's doorstep. The Dragons can taste it now, Gavin. All they need is a few first down conversions, and they can put a stamp on this one and punch their ticket to the second round of the 7A playoffs for the first time since 2011. Tanner Sprecher doesn't get much of anything.
These last few plays for the Wildcats, looks like they've had some good plays on defense, but just a little bit too late. Maybe if they could have done this earlier in the quarter, could have flipped the script a little bit. But again, Pekin's played a really nice game. They've played the end of this game really well, taking a lot of time off the clock, and they're doing everything right, putting themselves in a position to win.
Tanner Sprecher hobbling towards the sideline. We'll keep an eye on that, perhaps cramping up, but he made it to the sideline under his own power. Tyler submitted into the formation for Pekin. Here's his carry. Through the line, and then some. Pickup of 8 to make it 3rd down and 1. Whistles blow. And a timeout is taken by Libertyville as they get the stop short of the sticks. They're going to need another stop out of the timeout. We will take this timeout to remind you that tonight's presentation of Clutch Sports Media Playoff Football on CSM is brought to you by Zach Butler State Farm here in Pekin, Illinois. For all your insurance needs, home, auto, life, you name it, Zach Butler is your guy. Visit him online at sfbutler.com or give him a ring at 309-347-3115. It's your good neighbor in Pekin, Zach Butler State Farm. And we thank Zach for his support all season long. I'm sure he's been following this Dragons season from the very start. Gavin, when Pekin got off to its 3-0 start, you could feel that the team was something special, and it started with the offensive line, and then Kanye Tyler burst onto the scene as a superstar through the first few weeks, and then the emergence of Tanner Sprecher added another dimension. This team got better and better as the season went on, even though they picked up a few losses along the way.
Well, absolutely. I mean, they're a really good team, though. I mean, they're a special team. They were really in every game that they played. They didn't really lose any games by a lot. So this is a very special Pekin team, and they're really showing it tonight.
Scott Jordan trying to draw Libertyville off sides. He submits an audible. And now Coach Nutter will burn a timeout. Back-to-back timeouts. No seconds come off the clock. Good job by the Wildcats to not jump.
Yeah, good play by the Wildcats there, staying disciplined. But if you're Doug Nutter's group, no harm, no foul on that. I mean, the clock was already stopped. Gives you a chance to regroup and maybe revisit what you want to do here on 3rd down. The hard count didn't get him this time, but this is easily attainable, especially if you hand it off to Sprecher or Kanye Tyler up the middle. Get another first down here, and that could really, once again, further seal the deal for the Dragons.
And we talk about Tanner Sprecher. His arguably best game of the season came Week 7 at Metamora. 18 carries, 198 yards, 3 touchdowns. And this is what Pekin's student section at Fire Pit Nation posted on Instagram after the game. Very creative Photoshop work there, going all in on the graphics. Tanner Sprecher holding 2 birds, supposed to be Metamora Redbirds, of course. Funny stuff there. Fire Pit Nation always bringing the heat. 3rd down and 2. Kanye Tyler on the field. Sprecher still on the sideline. There goes Kanye. Tripped up. Looked like he had a lot of space out in front of him for a big run, but he just needed to move the sticks. and that clock will keep on ticking down.
Yeah, again, nice run there. That was a very easily, attainable first down run. We've seen them break off for so many much bigger third down conversions. That one looked like a walk in the park for them, and again, they kind of continue to put their stamp on this game.
Pekin looking for the play call from the sideline, but they're going to take their time. Under 3 minutes to go. And barring a miracle, the Pekin Dragons are going to defend their home turf and move on to the second round of the postseason, where they will face the winner of Hononegah versus Plainfield East. That game coming up tomorrow at 2 p.m. at Hononegah in Rockton, just north of Rockford.
Rockford, your old stomping grounds.
Of course, Rockford native.
Kanye,
Proud of it. I'd love to see a Hononegah-Pekin matchup.
Kind of bringing both of your worlds together, Central Illinois and your Rockford world. So very well could see that, though. Pekin looks to be good position to move on here, and have to obviously barring what happens tomorrow, but Pekin doing the job for that matchup, and a really well-played game. I mean, it's been a very closely contested game. My biggest takeaway at this point is both these teams, their last playoff appearances, got blown out pretty hard. They really weren't able to get into those games. Both these teams have been in this game at least at some point. Pekin pulling away a little bit, but it's been a tight battle. It's been a really fun one to watch.
It definitely has been. We've got a few finals from around the Middle-Illini Conference tonight. Looks like the Middle-Illini is going to go 3-0. Morton smokes Highland. They're in the middle of the fourth quarter, but Potters are leading Highland 42-19. Washington defeats Normal West in a close one on the Friday night showcase on 101.1 ESPN Peoria, powered by CSM, 14-7. And here, Pekin is moments away from a first-round victory. Scott Jordan charges ahead.
Middle-Illini has some really tough teams in the state playoffs this year. I mean, we know Middle-Illini is a very deep conference, and Pekin, Morton, and Washington all looking to do the job here tonight.
Injured Wildcat on the field as play continues to crawl along. And Gavin, we've seen some crazy stuff this year on CSM, but I don't think we've seen a 2-touchdown comeback in 2 minutes.
That would probably be the craziest thing Clutch Sports Media maybe has ever seen. I mean, there's been a lot of great moments in CSM history, but probably not going to happen tonight.
So we'll take a look at Pekin's playoff history once more. You see the last home playoff game before tonight, 2013. Last playoff win before tonight, 2011. Their last 8-win season was 2002. And they've had 7 playoff appearances since 2009. So a lot of the time they've had that success in the regular season in the MIC, but they haven't been able to perhaps take that next step. And this team is hungry. They're trying to show us they have what it takes.
Yeah, you played some tough teams in the Middle-Illini Conference. I mean, Washington, Metamora, very historically good. Dunlap in recent years has been very good. They play some good teams, but it's really a different animal when you get into the 7A playoff action. That's really tough for a team to come up with. Again, Pekin's had some struggles in the playoffs, but this is a very different team, a very special team, and they're looking to go all the way this year.
Scott Jordan gives to Tyler. That's enough to move the sticks. And that will likely be enough to end Libertyville's hopes as fans scream to the press box, run the clock, run the clock. Now the clock's running.
5-yard gain on the play.
The Dragons are probably going to be able to go into victory formation here. And the Pekin faithful knows what's next. They are headed to round 2.
The umbrellas have gone away, and it seems some more people sitting. It's a pretty packed house. Obviously, the rain may have driven a few people away, but everybody that stuck it out enjoyed a really good game tonight.
Jordan in victory formation. Shotgun snap. He'll take a knee. Gavin, entering this matchup, you look at Libertyville on paper, a very talented football team. They've got the stats to back it up, and they've got the size to back it up, really. The thing that jumped out to me was their offensive line, but Pekin, their offensive line, their defensive line, their box tacklers, they all rose to the occasion tonight.
Absolutely. Great scheme by Pekin. You know, they knew what they were going up against. I mean, there are some big guys, you know, on the field for Libertyville. They did not get intimidated by that, though. They came out and did their thing. They didn't let the pressure get the best of them, and they came in and took a really nice victory on the home field.
Jordan sticks his knee in the mud again. It's just going to be one more play, and the Dragons faithful can celebrate in the postseason for the first time since 2011. Jordan, one more time, and that'll do it. The Pekin Dragons are moving on. And for the first time since 2002, they hit the 8-win mark. 28-14, your final.
Please drive safely on your way home. And congratulations on a successful season.
And Gavin, the rain definitely held back the crowd a little bit, but the crowd was very involved in the game, very active the entire game. And this town is definitely behind its Dragons as they are moving on to the second round of the postseason, where they will await the winner of tomorrow's Hananiga versus Plainfield East matchup.
Final home game of the season for the Dragons, but everybody that braved the elements tonight enjoyed a really nice game. We obviously have the headsets on, so can't hear the crowd perfectly, but we knew they were loud and proud tonight. Everybody was real fired up for this game coming into this week, and again, the team really just came out, did their best stuff tonight, didn't let the pressure get the best of them, executed real well, and should take a whole lot of momentum going into round number 2.
And you see the good sportsmanship between the teams here. And Gavin, it was a chippy game from the start, but it never got out of control. Both teams trying their hardest, and you got to credit Libertyville. A very hard-fought battle. They came out and gave their all tonight. That's a talented football team that Pekin defeated.
Absolutely. I mean, Libertyville's faced some really tough teams this year, so they should be battle-hardened very well. They just weren't able to fully do it on the opponent's field tonight. But they have a lot of pieces coming back next year. I mean, Charlie Trua Jr., they have a couple of receivers that are junior, as well as some of the offensive linemen. So they should be able to bring some stuff back for next year. But Pekin, firing on all cylinders, ready to go.
And you wait and see as head coach Doug Nutter is about to enter Pekin's huddle. This is a post-win tradition every game for the Dragons. After head coach Doug Nutter wraps up any interviews or any extra handshakes that he has, Pekin waits for him all huddled up, and they swarm him, almost like a baseball walk-off celebration. This one might get a little muddy for Coach Nutter.
I don't think he would mind that too much. I'm sure he's just thrilled to have the victory tonight. Nice to be able to celebrate with his team as he heads to the huddle.
Here we go. Coach Nutter with an embrace, and here comes the whole team. They're not going to wait for him.
The Gatorade bath also coming out, making an appearance tonight, so a huge win for Coach Nutter and the Dragons. Awesome scene here at Memorial Stadium.
Congratulations to Pekin. They advanced to the second round for the first time since 2011. Libertyville's season ends at 6-4, and we want to take one more time to thank our sponsor for tonight, Zach Butler State Farm here in Pekin. For all your insurance needs, give him a ring, 309-347-3115, or visit him online at sfbutler.com. Could not have happened tonight without Zach Butler State Farm. Gavin, Pekin gets it done tonight. Your final thoughts?
Well, I'm just looking at some of the stats here. Obviously, we knew they were going to come out and rush the ball really well. They finished with 250 rushing yards, but the defense was very good. They passed the ball a little bit, so they were kind of flexing their muscle in all areas of the game, and that should really benefit them going forward in these playoffs. They'll be able to hurt opposing teams in a number of different ways, and they look like a team that could make a deep run in this playoffs. They obviously hope to make it all the way to DeKalb for the state championship.
Well, one thing's for certain, this team has the talent to win at least a few more games, and they showed us that tonight. That'll about do it here from Pekin, Illinois. We want to take a moment to thank our entire crew. Jonathan Michael on the sticks tonight, doing a great job producing. Francisco Alonso battling the elements upstairs. Josh Schwam on social media. Joey Wright on the graphics. And, of course, special thanks to Pekin Community High School for having us tonight. So that'll about do it from Pekin Memorial Stadium. For my partner, Gavin Russell, this is Larry Larson saying thank you for watching. Again, the final. Pekin is advancing to the second round as they defeat Libertyville 28-14. So long, everybody.